Hey, I'm Tony Jones.
And I'm the Reverend Russell, and this is the Hardest Question video blog. And this is Ordinary 18.
Pentecost 10.
Pentecost 10.
Proper
No, Pentecost. No, it's not.
9? No,
Pentecost.
10. It's
Oh.
I think it's
Oh,
Pentecost
yeah, but it's proper 13. If you add all those up and divide them,
10. Right.
you get the holy number.
Um, Here's my question for you.
Yeah.
So if there were a guy who came walking down your street
Yeah.
and he just like made a brand new Jaguar sports car
Yeah.
on your neighbor's driveway,
Right.
and you saw that,
Yeah.
and then he walked away,
Right.
and you're all like, everyone comes out, they're like, oh my gosh, this guy's
Yeah.
like, I just got a brand new Jaguar.
Yeah.
This guy just snapped his fingers,
Right.
and I got a brand new Jaguar.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And then a week later,
Yeah.
that dude came back, but he
Yeah.
stopped in front of your house, and he was
Right.
standing in front of your
Yeah.
driveway.
Yeah.
Would you go down and be like, hey, what do I got to do to,
Yeah.
those things
Yeah,
you did
right,
before?
yeah.
And the guy was like, what kind of thing do you want? Well, I mean, I don't know if
Yeah.
you're asking.
Yeah.
I guess
One of those
maybe
miracles.
maybe a
yeah.
miracle of a vehicular type of
Nature, yeah.
miracle.
Yeah.
And then the guy's like, "You're missing the point."
You're missing the point, right, right.
Wouldn't
Yeah.
you feel a little bit like the bait and switch?
Well, I mean, I do have to take issue one bit. I mean, if I saw my neighbor have a Jaguar magically appear, I would think, what kind of audacious miracle man is this who has no concern for the environment? Now, if he made a Prius appear in the driveway,
Good point.
Okay,
Okay,
then,
touche.
yeah, if there was a Prius, then I'd say, dude, passing out Priuses.
Prii.
Prii, yeah. A Prii.
Oh,
Alright,
very nice, very
so,
nice.
yeah, no, I think you're right. Like, Jesus is feeding them.
This is one of those times
Yeah.
when, like, Jesus gets mad at people for
Yeah.
asking what seems like the most natural
Right.
question,
Yeah.
because bread was not easy to come by back in
Yeah.
that day. Like, it was the stuff of life, right? But it was
Right.
also like you'd have to knead it, you'd have to
Yeah,
you'd
absolutely.
like pound the grain out
Yeah.
on the threshing floor, and like to get a loaf of bread was an onerous task that probably took somebody in your family. That's pretty much what
Yeah.
they did, right? Was they made bread all day.
Yeah.
And here Jesus is able to
And so why wouldn't they ask for that?
they'd be like, hey, you're the bread guy.
Yeah. And he's like, no, you completely missed the point. And they're like, the point of free bread? Yeah. Well, maybe you know how a couple weeks ago you said that maybe we should just preach the miracle straightforward, the feeding of the 5,000.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we should just like come right out and say, you know what, Jesus says you missed the point, because even though the obvious thing is, oh, free bread, maybe Jesus is really saying, no, the gospel's harder than that.
Yeah, I mean, I actually,
Yeah.
I like the fact that Jesus undermines
Yeah.
the straightforward readings of many of the things we say.
Yeah.
It's a little tricky for me, though, that he gets ornery with people for asking just what seems like the
Yeah.
natural question that
Right.
you would ask. And he does this all the time.
Yeah, and I think maybe that's what's something kind of beautiful about that. He does it all the time. He's like, he's giving out free bread. That's what is miraculous. It's very miraculous. So they want more, and he's like, he gets a little bit mad. He's like, no, you don't get it. And so they're like, what? They really feel like they don't get it. Because maybe it's a little bit harder.
Right, so then he says it's the bread from heaven.
Yeah.
Like he's bringing the bread from heaven. And they say one of your favorite lines in the Bible. Sir?
Yes, I love that. Sir, give us this bread always. Isn't that from Oliver?
they have a-
Yeah.
Sir?
Yeah, please, sir, may I have another? No, yes, sir, give us this bread always. I think it's a remarkably rational response, don't you?
Well, they obviously get his point.
Yes, they totally get his point.
When he's like, no, I'm talking about spiritual bread.
Yeah. And then they're like, what? Okay, yes.
Could you also give us the bread that makes our tummies full, too?
Yeah. But I like this goes on, actually, and I don't know how much we're going to cover it here when we're coming up in the next weeks. It goes on to kind of get out of control.
Yeah, so stay tuned, because
Okay.
that's probably next week.
Let us know how you preach on this.